There are uses. There are fact treatment nature racketeering roles with databases that are recorded more responsible for furthering the overt criminal enterprises and more responsible for the drugs problems than the drugs themselves. The overt criminal drugs, or which I wouldn't call criminal, I'm calling the roles with it, including the interbranch collusion with the overt criminal enterprises and their own drug cliques involved with overt gangs drugs and with medical drugs used criminally. Whole fake conversations with people, all kinds of racketeering with foreign and domestic agencies, directors, sequence racketeering roles, not even in police form, racketeering uses of my lawyer, racketeering uses of not a criminal. They were recorded, confessed, demonstrated, pretend people are criminals. They can't defend that and not sequence shift, for example, sequence racketeering natures. They say things into records that they know are not true and then pretend that is a proof of it not being true. No, sequence racketeering. They're forging and switching names at the same time, making confessions and then writing other in databases, faking things, faking falsified police reports with various natures of police forms, intercities, on and off the campuses, training state police, locations of the ground, all gather around. The recorded confessed to demonstrated criminal uses of undercover and of statutes that say they can be undercover and lie, in other words, and hide that with foreign and domestic. But they're also using and having used that criminally through time, tied with the child offenders problems. Recorded effective, easy criminal uses of men and women interbranch, all of them tied to them private, especially medical racketeering, misprision, racketeering, where they say interbranch individually grouped it together. They're against what they already did and already are in the furtherance of, sequentially, inherently, actively, and progressively, simultaneously, and worse. Must have rehearsed mandated laws not followed through time. I just remind. They are preventing people free speech because they are pretending not to realize interbranch roles all tied to them, with worse than interstates effectively originally and still maintained criminally foreign influenced value treatments, fact treatments. And no, I was speaking about trial before I ever heard anyone say it on YouTube. This is racketeering roles uses of a whole bunch of people with natures of crime, with the Justice Department, the same people with crimes as a word and as a slash value in their mouths every day, every moment criminally, in their minds criminally, originally and still. You can't defend what they to pretend is true always just because that's precedent. That's all they ever heard. They came through 6 campuses. Forgiveness is because they're victim predators and they're preventing mandated law. They're preventing free speech by stealing our identities offensively in sustained ways with a whole bunch of people. They attach to fake locations, including the people that value it because now they're adults needing to pretend they have integrity. They're already involved with database racketeering with Washington, D.C., and with Trade Center, Pentagon, all manifest with Weathersfield into branch racketeering on off their offices, on off the state prison offices, houses next to them, houses next to the state judicial branch offices, houses with corners all the way up along that street involved with them, fire departments, on and off Trinity College, on and off CCSU, involved with court, confessed racketeering, same people on and off UConn, the families of the interbranch, the military. It's all right, they have opinions, but now you're stuck. You guys involved with shootings on Hartford, Connecticut, with opinions about how to counter negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures that are recorded, used effectively, criminally foreign influence, delusions, or blaming other things, others themselves. pretending not to realize offensively by pretending to bring down certain statistics, like, for example, coveted lawyer, recorded, confessed to demonstrate, pretending to be about with physical delusions juxtaposed, nothing personal. You're involved with media, with racketeering, with medical offenders, with kids, judges involved attaching them to fake locations, racketeering with a whole bunch of people tied to Joshua Julian, and to the Britain Superior Court, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved criminal uses of Facebook pages, of campuses, of training of IT departments, computer departments, with foreign and domestic collusion with database racketeering that is since before computers, and is effectively keeping all rolls with this. See, now, it's one thing to say, "Oh, I'm not the person who decides the law. I just report it to someone else." That's involved with racketeering, where you're supposed to hear complaints. I'm talking about crime acts. I was never talking about anything debatable. They're pretending things are debatable. They're pretending I'm lying in the background, forging names, switching names. When you go up front into courts, you have to respect their time. And they made confessions. They made demonstration recorded racketeering act rolls, and with child offenders through time, of a whole bunch of natures of child offenses, as groups also involve racketeering with the same natures of courts of the family members, involved with elderly homes, involved with lawyers criminally, all kinds of crime methods against men and women if they're not going to be rolls with this. What is all along the route from Weathersfield right through Newington to on off CCSU, on off Paul Manafort Drive. Recorded, confessed with fire department families, also involved with Russians and town offices, libraries, and private and other and public, involved racketeering with the same families, on and off CCSU, on and off UConn. Crime acts rolls with on and off Harvard hospitals location, other hospitals and locations, their roles with triages, with all the different various EMS families, involve racketeering on off CCSU, on off Trinity College, with intermilitary, involve foreign and domestic military. It's nonsense. They're all suits and ties, the fake counters to sick things because they're sick too, and they're calling that positive because it's unity. That's not unity. Unity is why we are individual, grouped, and bonded species. We don't have science. We have scientific consensus that is keeping nations grouped, tactically ulterior than how and why we're grouped actually. Each identity of value has 2 points of possession on both sides of it, two periods, for example. We'll examine this. I'm showing you physical delusions into sciences simultaneously, not by accident. Those are also maintain self value because juxtaposed are roles with what is off campuses already maintained, sustained life progressions only capable from each formal position of fact treatment nature, regardless of the homeschooled is also involved with their parents and kids' roles with originally instilled, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Racketeering roles with all the databases clicks. Uses of that were originally instilled. They have a man named Dow and a gal involved with criminal uses of the parties, physical delusions, criminal uses forcing drugging of people that are further involved with on and off campuses, foreign and domestic crime act roles with Russians against things that the various courts pretending to be against such are involved sequence racketeering with Russians, fake conversations with me, but a whole bunch of foreign and domestic involved with the Russians criminally, like a Leahy family, involved with various natures of courts with them with racketeering acts, mail crimes, whole fake conversations with me about my family too. They attach my family members to fake sequences. They have their coaching media to racketeering acts roles. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated 3 times. They used Harvard Hospital to prevent me from telling on actually recorded reality, which is a Dillon family and a whole bunch of people with Harvard Hospital involved with racketeering with the kids, with my new and past neighbors, and with other people they involve with evidences racketeering they don't understand. But no one, everyone speaks to other people, and that's involved with the child offenders. Further, with a principal sex offenders campus, especially if it's made up, because there are other sex offenders, especially if they're made up too, that are involved with other natures of crimes, with their family members also further involved with the problems with the police intercampuses of each time. This is also involved with their roles with intelligence families associated with stop and shops and with locations on off it, shared policing of locations, all along Town Line Drive, all along the stop and shops, the routes next to them, and like at the end of the Berlin Turnpike. All those spots have people involved with identity racketeering. That in other words, they know where you're going to be when you're not going to be there. They know how to speak to people behind your back because they have a continued, like a whole bunch of people on Fox Connecticut News involved with racketeering, with agencies and with foreign and domestic and overt criminal enterprises, and then recorded consciously racketeering acts with with undercover people and pretending that the statutes mean that they're supposed to hide their roles with such racketeering, like child offenses, elderly offenses, all kinds of evidence racketeering, pretending things recorded in databases, pretending to perceive things, roles acting with that. For the branches involved, individually grouped and together, per private involved, per all their witnesses, everyone involved, same overt criminal enterprises roles, rigid and still. Whole bunch of you. DACA was just used as a substrate for what was already propagated here, maintained effectively breaching organized high crime racketeering method, maintained self-valued, self-cultivated roles to and with what is originally and still juxtaposed motivations, natures, needs, interests, valuing having been blamed already, so precedents criminal foreign influence. Now see that's a the foreign is a value treatment they only let spoke by passions and emotions dishonestly, preventing science from free speech to demonstrate, for example, just the fact treatment nature value criminal foreign influence. They can't have us understand criminal our nature or volume as criminal insidiousness nature. See, because we have criminal insidiousness natures of logic experts with physical delusions and criminal foreign influence with racketeering methods, for example, with misprision, where they say what they know they already said other, where they're attaching people to fake conversations. They're quantifying the amount of people involved with interbranch and with private and with overt criminal enterprises and all the people they punish involve racketeering with them and innocent people. And they keep that sustained every moment they have those innocent people and people that maybe have did wrong, they attach to more or worse, pretended onto them. Because these are criminal uses of all identities of the ground by all men and women with their perception and with their evidence reception roles. They can't defend what they pretend to perceive and are shown because it's also the sequence racketeering, how they have the sensibilities of each age of girls and women recorded all the way up to the highest levels of them recorded, affected by criminally foreign influenced sciences, each of them, everyone. And see, but we don't have mandated law followed, and that's evidences. So it's no joke with little rap guy and friends when they're counter extorting the world. If you see that position drawn, there's worse in real life. And I drew it. It's hard to draw it worse. And not by accident. They built it worse. They drew it worse. They forced that only capable of being afforded individually grouped and together by all value treatment systems roles. See, now we also have the employees of companies involved with racketeering with those companies, but it's facilitated from off those identity of grounds locations. Same way off the identity of ground of each of the branches offices of police departments is maintained are maintained individually grouped together recorded criminally foreign influence delusions raw you they can't defend their quality of fact treatment nature, excuse me, of sequence nature, and of uses of pretended, precedents of them to pretend integrity that never was, only capable of it through contrast, no, not correlation, only capable of criminally using what made the Native Americans fall last, and America get worse and worse since. To make America great again, you guys want to play. You guys are offensively attaching meanings. You're attaching precedents with politics, with the ads tied to that. These people are recorded, confessed right through the Obama administration, right through the Reagan administration, right through administrations. All racketeering, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how involved with the shootings in the downtown Hartford, for example, right through how it's facilitated. It was how it was already propagated. Identities of value treatment. Now these people are evaluating. Oh, how do we counter such? Let's take this. Okay, the graduation rate is not good. When you're taking the graduation rate, you're leaving out the racketeering that was already sustained upon the people of Hartford, Connecticut. So you have Governor Moy was a prosecutor. The prosecutors are recorded, confessed, retired and standing. Interbranch judges retired and standing. Various niches of court on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the state prison offices. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. All kinds of Washington D.C. Trade Center, Pentagon racketeering roles. Inter systems like interstates, VAs. You see that people stacking? That's associated with a pathology that built all with the torture of our fact treatment nature, slavery, and torture of our founders is our American history's course, is in relation to a racketeering method actually recorded. Isn't recorded to their identity racketeering, the identity thefts and frauds against our founders. That forced them to be painted as slaveholders, and they left us the proofs of it. So we have people pretending knowledge of the most knowledge of facts of American history, so they're preventing the simple correlation by it. They're playing punk games with names from history involved with this. No words. Of, uh, she's stronger than all of us. She's great, greater than anyone. As what's her name? Harriet Tubman. But everyone has roles, countering it as styles of fact treatment nature only allowed, and or just painted, blaming other things others themselves. Sequence shifting, defending culture's physical. Exactly, you can't defend what culture is. Before, then while being physical culture's value. And beyond this, at the same time already affecting it, our nature, our logic experts need to know the difference between positive, how we need to, are standing the Trinity positive as identity, perfecting itself with positive and negative at the same time. I just remind now through a tactical ulterior than our complete factory, our actual science by our actual agenda here per nature, not per the pathology originally still criminally foreign influence delusions rotten sick. The right, this is intercities through time. Vertical and horizontal database illusion stacking against everyone to roles. One thing we could do as a species coach too is to have things built like you have a Brit that you couldn't even afford. Like we can make the fish, for example. we can make some kind of thing that cleans the ocean. You don't charge people money. You won't make it, in other words, make it owned by a company that just let's make the thing nice. People will go on and do that. Make it so you can't sink, or it breaks apart before it sinks. You know, and in other words, we're in a value nature system that's going nature itself is going to demonstrate negative value nature progressions, acts and natures and demonstration of formal fact treatment nature and collusion within as the identity that is causing this actual, which is an identity of relationship to the ground, to Earth's value system actual that is only capable of causing negative value nature progressions. Acts and natures and precedents built having value that originally is still sickly. When you hear about the pathology, oh, this was this nation's land, and then this was this nation's, and then this, because stability, not just because stability, because the identity of relationship to the ground, that is about what really why we're individual nature or volume, and where and how and as. That's most in sequence when all three are being valued simultaneously, individual, grouped, and simultaneous. It's the individual volume first. That's in sequence being valued. When we are positive as negative value nature still, as criminal insidious nature, as the logic forced. Not only forced, they're still in your identities to pretend they have integrity, they don't. Psychology. A whole bunch of families and a whole bunch of colleagues, men and women, involved with all kind of Justice Department racketeering, Washington D.C., Pentagon, into everything. Sick. This is what was here since before. This was collusion deeper than Joseph Mengele. Do you think they were going to do that stuff and it was really Hitler that would be doing overt like that? Sick. These are the psychology roles, psychology, a whole bunch of nations maintained. You can't defend that identity that's in collusion interbranch with psychology. Private criminal enterprises recorded with the interbranch ones maintain self-valued criminal and insidiousness legalized but criminally and not exploited criminally. They have people that maybe spend their whole lives countering nations that are sick on each other in here. Those same families are in collusion with those same nations. Criminal uses of identity of the ground locations. All gather round. Sensations. Feel the fall. To make America great again. It's native, y'all. Our nature is native. Regardless if we're not, even though if we're not, we're Native American. See that fact treatment nature racketeering? Especially if you were one of the people who are most overtly entrapped by what was our fact treatment nature's slavery of our founders. Every single person here. Already was a method that perfected the Native Americans, propagated as a machine self cultivated to roles blaming the real cause of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures upon themselves, on other things others themselves than actual. That valuing the safe care, the fake care against it with them, as the fake sides with them, all right through everything fluent. The devil's course as an organized crime racketeering method. not as that which is debatable, but with lies and delusions, and with pseudoscience, sequence racketeering roles. Therefore, note that the first part of the Quran says all you have to do to be a Muslim, and also values non-Muslims more than the ones who appear to be Muslim always. And I'll say all I have to do. This is about the conversation of the book in sequence. It's prevented the first part of it in sequence because it reveals a conversation demonstration about how nations are grouped, value nature systems, tactical ulterior from the one Allah's name is really about, and where and how nations, languages have value individually grouped and altogether distinctly and non-distinctly too. It's not to say Allah is the only name for the identity of all things at once. It's to say the only way you can understand that by science is the nature of correlation, nature prevented free speech, prevented, prevented rational reception of the premise treatments of any nature without criminal foreign influence, natures of logic, styles, trying to make positive, trying to pretend to believe that they're experts on how to make positive out of negative distinctly. I mean, in other words, when you ask criminal and seditious nature, they're trying to pretend they're experts on logic, and so they're forging names and switching names and faking whole conversations to hide from people who are using fact treatment nature without physical delusions and without criminal foreign influence. They're stealing our identities offensively. If we're not running for elections, they're using election laws about what they could say about each other against us, pretending not to realize. We have all kinds of natures of racketeering methods recorded, and actually recorded natures of and as the value of prosecutors, retired and standing, all positions of government, higher than governors, all victim predators, roles with vertical and horizontal databases, racketeering, confessed, recorded, and demonstrated through time. I just remind people with Trinity College, CCSU, recorded and confessed crimes with a whole bunch of people tied to a person who came into my family and that came into my house, my school, my grammar school when I was in fourth grade, associated with a Weathersfield police chief, his family members, his foreign family member with a Mazzucato bakery, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people tied to them, involved racketeering with the kids, even sexual, even medical. And these are crime rolls with media locations, with owners of clubs, background things, vaccines. A whole bunch of people associated with a Casper family, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with Hartford Hospital. A whole bunch of people with a D. Simone family, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved Hartford Hospital, racketeering with drugs, racketeering with sexual cliques, racketeering with people with Hartford Hospital campus on and off it with that, racketeering with various natures of courts leading up to cases, racketeering with depositions, uses of lawyers with fake sides of um, people, all kinds of things, boxings. Now, a whole bunch of places all along that route that goes by the state judicial branch offices from Glastonbury, the Oliveri House there, Weathersfield Pizza, all the way up that, all the way to Cromwell. Recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved justice racketeering, which is also therefore prisons, which is also then recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering uses of counters to criminal justice racketeering, racketeering through prison cliques, which are crimes with their patients and criminals and against innocent people that they made criminals, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Originally, still, they have these places used to have their life progressions how they needed to. They have the networks recorded, confessed, and demonstrated roles with racketeering with the ad companies, timed ad placements, where they have family members associated with quote unquote quote intelligence family unquote intelligence community unquote. Whole bunch of people on and off two route highway, on and off the streets perpendicular to it, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with a whole bunch of untimely deaths spots and with murder spots. People with extortion clicks. All people involved with the three natures of corners on the child sex offenders. Four now because they put another street in there, which is a cul-de-sac. Recorded, confessed, also involved with the medical racketeering with the people on and off the campus is connected. And this is Russian families also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a whole bunch of other nations of police forms. And like they have communications through time with, and they meet to talk with military people through wars associated with a nice place to hang out with Mazzucato Bakery. But they have originally and still they're involved with the Weathersfield Police and a police chief long ago with the House slash S involved interstates racketeering, uses of each of the campuses through time, uses of corners, all the streets, distinctly and non distinctly, all the way along the routes. They use and see people don't even know who Paul Manafort is and all the recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering roles with various natures of courts, state police, former director of the FBI, other FBI, CIA, their family members recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminal uses of each of the campuses through time connected. There are people involved with child abuses at inter the campuses of each age connected. They pretend they're about culture, interconnection, things like that. They're hiding life progressions. They're hiding roles with a crime method that puts people's names in other people's minds. They're putting illusions. They're using vertical, horizontal database racketeering. They're, they've recorded racketeering uses of KKK themed, Confederate flag themed, and black and white hate groups that are pretending hate and pretending things because they're influenced to pretend they're acting things, fake sides of correlation nature, sequence racketeering. They have one man who's black, I don't know his name, who was a kid, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with child abuses of him, but everyone speaks to other people. And there's another one with the name Bayrock, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with them, involved with database racketeering and with criminal uses of DACA clicks on and off campuses through time. These are also people with state police and recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with a whole bunch of people tied to Weathersfield Pizza and with CCSU with them, with a Maria Fazzino and with a Steven Stocco. Also with the interstates Paul Zano in the house in my area. That's involved with Phil Colell, their cousin, and their grandparents. There's a house down the street from. It's near where a kid was reportedly shot too, which is perpendicular from the state judicial branch offices, and that path all the way down to Cromwell, right through Rocky Hill. All those corners, all those spots involved, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people that were involved with DACA, but this is use DACA as a platform for what was already a method, all rolls with it since before our founders were born here. That's all prepared. So all the way there's a street in my town, Old Weathersfield, and there's a house at the corner. All the corners are involved with it, and the house at the corner of Church Street and Main Street is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by Weathersfield police and by people associated with them with my area involved with racketeering at the departments at the various natures of campuses, ones I didn't even go to, and with policing intercampuses. Whole bunch of people associated with their extended family members with all kinds of racketeering on and off campuses, all kinds of perception racketeering roles. So they set up exceptions so they can pretend not to realize them through time, like Ro- Michael Roberts, Eric Jensen, recorded, confessed, and demonstrate with a Ray Reynolds and with a Joe DeMoro. They're involved with all kinds of medical racketeering and with racketeering with Justice Department Trade Center, Pentagon clicks, and people associated with Middletown, like that's associated with like Hamilton. That guy was associated with reportedly demonstrated associated with Wesleyan College, and there's like a Connecticut River. You know, all along rivers, features of the ground, all those features of the ground everywhere across the world. We have a pathology of infrastructure, of homes, of means to it, recorded involved with the fact, treatment, nature, torture, and slavery of our founders, which is inseparable from being able to have the conversation about that, which is inseparable from being able to discern properly. You have to be able to do that if you're going to discern properly the actually recorded racketeering method slash S against everyone with fact, especially the people with labeled black. To do that properly, you have to understand the racketeering method against everyone. You have to use the phrase criminal foreign influence. You have to understand that. So offensively, for example, a whole bunch of terms, words, and phrases. Words slash value and phrases slash value. For example, individually grouped together, words. It's all hers. The word, the body of Christ, the body of value, the word, the nature, the Trinity is not completely Jesus Christ, but one way. Our nature is temporary positive, but but criminal insidious nature is temporary positive too, especially when criminally legalized. With all the calculus that goes into making marijuana illegally, they put people in jail. They pretend people have. They pretend they should do things because people have because of addiction, say, which is a word slash value they use criminally. Forging names, switching names, faking medical evidences into databases. Those same people are racketeering axe rolls with live progressions from those spots, not by accident. That's in a method that's already uses this. Everyone needed to hide that, right? Not by accident, right there, facilitating means to. So all we need is recorded. We need mandated law. We need the algorithm defended, which is what? Identity of relationship to itself. That's really what the algorithm is about. It's all right if people have opinions about what I'm saying. That's why if someone, in other words, if Facebook's now involved, they make opinion. They're being coached. Facebook has recorded, confessed, and demonstrated roles with people being coached by the FBI and by the CIA and by their family members and by Weathersfield Police and by their family members retired and standing, by judges retired and standing, by prosecutors retired and standing, by interbranch family members of all levels retired and standing. Whole bunch of natures of courts retired and standing, on off to Town Line Road, criminally involved through time. On off Jordan Lane, another stop and shop there. On off the one at the end of the route, that goes by the state judicial branch offices. Places all around it involve racketeering with them, with evidences. Then they put people in jail every day. That's the job. They're made psycho the same way overt criminal enterprises are. Recorded you involved with racketeering with the undercover with them against the change of fact treatment nature. Really, what for there's the overt criminal enterprises with not more than the drugs, for example, more than the is the value treatments, for example, the science. They need to obfuscate what we already know we could have understood because the science the ancients were already revealed this way better than anyone ever let you told. Because each of the sciences are defending identities that can't defend themselves and handle free speech with sequence true. So they also have to need to pretend that take that phrase because they know we have to say that phrase. So they use theater at the top level. I don't want to say Hollywood because it's a movie level and distinctly and non distinctly at play levels. They use Hamilton for racketeering that is using the fact treatment nature styles, the positive and negative treatment styles, the logic styles, all recorded tactical ulterior than logic with no criminal foreign influence. Logic capable. As that capable of discerning what is the identity that both ratiocination and pseudo ratiocination share distinctly and non distinctly. See, we come to the organized crime method that has truths like if you work for a boss, then you rely upon their value nature system. See, but we have all these styles of abridged constitution, self-defender. It's all right if you have opinions, but now you're in the way of mandated law, and you're recorded and confessed and demonstrated and being coached to it. Facebook. You know that New Britain Superior Court is involved with crimes with a principal sex offender with you guys, with WFSB involved with crimes still furthering line progressions because interbranch family members were then and now further involved with child offenders, people with the PTO, people with elections already with election spots, even town offices, libraries further people recorded and confessed involved with judges and then with their family members, with racketeering, with a whole bunch of houses in my area on off the middle school further criminally involved, the Southstein Middle School, the library of the Wethersfield Library, the New Britain Library, the Library of Central Connecticut State University, the Library of Trinity College, all recorded, confessed, and demonstrated used criminally from off them, but on off campuses in sustained ways, but the same cliques involved with the racketeering with Church Street corners, all, and then with the house at the corner of Church Street and Main Street, involved with the with the acting teach one of the acting teachers and the whole acting department, and with one of the English teachers and the whole English department, recorded through time. Other departments of CCSU also involve racketeering, like with science teachers. People now you take a right from that house onto Main Street, Old Town Cafe, a place across the street from it. Recorded confessed racketeering rolls with a whole bunch of people on off a food bag, and with these two Mendez police, and with foreign and domestic military police families involved racketeering with houses in my area, criminal uses of houses at the corners on Burlington, on all the corners on Griswold Street too, for example. Same people involved with all the racketeering all the way up with the corners all the way up to Cromwell, with the Stop and Shop right before you take a left. Then there's a boxing gym. Recorded confessed to demonstrate a whole bunch of people tied with Sandy Hook, Newtown families associated with databases in that town like fire departments, involved with trade center, a bunch of racketeering roles, natures, needs, and interests associated with every fact, treatment, nature, or value in New York City, for example, originally and still. They don't know what to do about it. It's not to say all these are the forgiveness like the overt criminal enterprises that there are crime act roles or uses of. So we need to have logic's course defended here. And they're sustaining this intercities through time. They're preventing me from calmly defending myself when they're stacking. They use a whole bunch of women with the name Alicia since they were kids involved criminally. A whole bunch of men and women that share the name Bobby, or three of them at least, more because four with them who share the name Bobby. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved crimes with people all along that route, Maple Street. Again, the corner where there's an Exxon gas station. I don't know if it's a Shell gas station now. Across the street there's an Altamoda, and there's a place where the coffee shop went out, and now they're reportedly putting in a Mazzucato Bay, another bakery associated with Mazzucato, which is the police chief's extended family, which is involved with foreign and domestic racketeering, again with all kinds of military racketeering, where they discuss things. And there were involvements with other nations like Bosnia, with a Sklar family involved with racketeering with the Trade Center attack, with child sex offenders, with identity thefts, fake ties to me. There's a Claudia Sklar recorded and confessed by a whole bunch of people tied to her, involved with a whole bunch of nations, and a whole bunch of her extended family members, involved further with Wethersfield police and people on off the state judicial branch offices, further racketeering roles, uses of all kinds of natures of criminal uses of houses in my area associated with people with them criminally, how they use them. They pretend to perceive things and pretend to record things. They made confessions, demonstrations, her roles with a Joe DeMauro. There's a bunch of Joe DeMauros. Intercities, a whole bunch of people tied to them, switching names, forging names, like with a Joe Aiello. Recorded racketeering with Facebook use with various natures of courts, police, foreign and domestic military, police, and families. Overt criminal enterprises from various natures and collusion. Identity theft, racketeering. Everyone's speaking to other. It's all right. You want to be a gangster? Don't be a little rap mob too, Joey Quest. And I guess that's your son or whoever, whatever. People associated with the end of the bone tub bike. Whole bunch of people associated with the Mayano family. There's a construction site there. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with medical offenders and drug clicks with New Britain Superior Court, other natures of courts involved with this Mayano family. Further criminal with town through time and with these boxing spots. Whole bunch of people recorded, confessed, crime acts roles, influence to evidence racketeering roles with identity theft racketeering, sequence racketeering roles with all the various natures of gyms associated with CCSU. They're involved with justice racketeering. They train the people that go on the campuses. I mean, that run the prisons. They train the people that run shared policings of other nations on off campuses, locations like a Dakota, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with them, foreign and domestic medical families involved with all kinds of natures of racketeering uses of anything they can to hurt whoever they have to hide their life aggressions because they can't follow mandated law. And that's evidence. They're preventing evidences. The recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with mayors retired and standing, crimes with the PTO, They have family members associated with the conversations with the interbranch family members that attach me to fake locations, fake conversations with them through their time, fake perceived things, fake spoken things, lies about my behavior, lies of attaching little kids through time to fake locations. We have sick men and women interbranch. They need to pretend that's personal when I say that because they can't deal with the real facts. So they have everyone talking about the YouTube algorithm, the Facebook algorithm. These are intercampuses of each age of fact treatment nature. Each nature of the department used originally and still as an identity of negative value nature progression maintains self-value. So they can maintain the line progressions in that originally and still recorded effectively juxtaposed with and as nature's all juxtaposed with real nature's means in the interest to pretend, but what's actually recorded is what keeps that juxtaposed, which is all roles with this racketeering method again against our founders. And you cannot defend and heal what was hurt, who is hurt the most by that, without admitting that simultaneously, because that's the simultaneous nature that we are that is being exploited. The simultaneous nature. This is values course. And when I say tribe, see, they try to delay the news and then pretend me. I'm not trying to copy someone who said tribe building. I'm talking the tribe. And I said that I didn't say I copied anyone. I said that before heard that on YouTube. No value. I'm not copying anyone with value. This is another value course. I'm talking about mandated laws where I learned this from. Some they want people to fight about sequence and everything's online. And who's going to talk about it is lying about it. She also, when O'Brien family recorded, confessed and demonstrated involved with the religious spots, with the houses, involved with them with the racketeering with the DeMoro family, and with the were retired and standing mayors, and people involved with the educational department. In other words, so if you go a little further down the street, it goes right through Newington, houses along those corners, businesses associated with that, a whole bunch of people associated with UConn, CCSU, Central Connecticut State University through time. Since I was a kid, called me to their position so they could pretend things and exploit that through time. So they could pretend to perceive things, pretend to record things. A whole bunch of people associated with the Samuel Dix house corner criminally. I don't even know all their names. A whole bunch of people there with that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with locations on off Fox Connecticut News and downtown's clubs through time. Joe DeMorro's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that involved. There's a guy named Tiffy involved with them, with a whole bunch of people in my area involved with them criminally, with even the witness protection program used criminally, even child offenders overtly, right through administrations, not by accident, overtly sick with what we could actually afford for with our elderly, for veterans, for 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 tactically worse than forsaken, tortured, and in fact, human nature enslaved now on a mass scale. So I don't know what game they're playing with my ancientgaming.system.com. Still not online. But all we have to do is paint what is forsaken, which is as it is, and admit it. And we're going to see that there is all offensive, pretended care, juxtaposed with violence for blamed on other things others themselves than that is really supposing to juxtapose misprision uses of that self-value by those misprision, private, interbranch, intermilitary, foreign and domestic, shared policing, hundreds of nations sick with psychology. I'll teach you logic C course here. I'm not a doctor. They're recorded, forging names, switching names, faking whole conversations, whole bunch of racketeering roles with men and women involved with Weathersfield always interbranch. Every time they open their mouths with a meeting in this town, I'll gather round. They're preventing people, communes, from countering their threats and abuses of our families and of other kids, families' kids. It's all right if they want to say they have opinions, that's all right. Say it on paper, though, because it's not all right. Especially with DCF involved racketeering, with with prison cliques, leaderships involved racketeering with the campuses, with databases, with identity ground locations, with their sexual circles, not by accident. They're only having people meet through sick fakes, through such. All victim predators. This is age of fact treatment nature. They know boys and girls want to meet naturally. They want to have so they have their perception messed with. They have what is experienced by boys and girls, men and women, realize so they can exploit that when they speak about other people with standing positions of natures. I mean, standing roles in areas, especially schools. Hyper defense roles used to hide from lie progressions, used to hide what they're doing with their databases because it's maintaining off campuses lie progressions, self value by the family members of all that interbranch, inter private connected to them, especially medical, especially campuses of each age and nature, even fire departments involved with the child offenders because everyone's speaking through other criminally, pretending to perceive things and to receive and to record things criminally through time. Weathersfield Fire Department recorded, confessed, and demonstrated all kinds of crimes with smoke going through the time criminal uses of things. Boxing. There are foreign and domestic families associated with my area. A whole bunch of people associated with UPS through time. A whole bunch of people associated with Oliveri, Eric Mendez, Eric a whole bunch of people with the name Eric involved with racketeering with New Britain Superior Court with child offenders. Please get me a response because they're incapable of an election. True. See through. See if mandates course. See they don't follow mandated law since founding and they pretend other misprision. They say other after other is already recorded. While they're preventing speech of people and attaching everyone to fake words, fake recorded things in databases. Too many nations sick together at once. Too long. They are recorded using names. The name of um, Kim. I forgot if his name is Kim Il Sung. I want to make them say the wrong person. The leader of North Korea. They refer to him as a dictator and stuff like that. They're racketeering roles with a whole bunch of nations, with a whole bunch of natures of evil, natures of crime, crime methods associated with racketeering. Like in other words, with psychology, with their mental diagnosis, with how they torture people. Then with their uses of statutes, because then what people are going to say, they're going to pretend just about that. They're preventing writing. They're putting things. They're forging names, switching names. They're recording using time always too fast, too slow, here and there. Sick. Can't defend with their little pathology of infrastructure means to it. So they rely upon threats while they are worse. Let's all rehearse. Signs never spoke for streets. This way completes. So the Weathersfield police have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that they have a whole bunch. They name stack. They pretend that the quantity of liars in the background aren't realized criminally. They're forging names, switching names. They recorded, confessed a whole bunch of people along that route, and with the corner, in other words, with this Mazzucato pastry, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a whole bunch of nations involved, foreign and domestic, with my town's police chief, and with conversations through his bakery with military families, foreign and domestic, through time. These are the people with criminal uses of Bosnia through time, of a Scalera family, with Italian families, with the sexual circles, even with their own family members, with the Scalera family. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with more medical families on off the child offenders campus, and roles with all the corners, all the natures of corners on that street. Foreign and domestic, these are people, crimes with Russians, crimes with the town offices, crimes with community public television, their roles with various natures of YouTube channels involved with the racketeering, with the fire departments, and with the identity of the ground locations used criminally, like corners of streets. There's one at the corner of Griswold Street, and there's a house across the street from him, and their neighbors revolved also with criminal uses of like deaf kids. Any kind of difference like that, where like they did that against Robert E. Lee too, with per their uses of Helen Keller. Now she's forced to communicate through people in relationship to to, to, to tricks. Not going to make her aware of things, communicate things that force her to reveal things. Where everyone was forced to be a liar and to pretend other, because that's the racketeering method again. That is unceasingly our sequence true. The order of the inherent slash finite, the order of the active slash simultaneous, the order of the progressive, and what is before and beyond that value too. As what is the difference between what causes positive value nature progressions, evolutions, fruits and gifts actual, or their loss. Vita Vadis. Arrivederci. Buonasera. Goodbye. Farewell. I don't know any other languages. Mesalam. Mañana. So, boxings of snow to summer all connects to the semi-ancient hex to know its part and not. To seize its heart, for long it seizes as ours. Not one nation has integrity. Don't let them pretend other. Here, it's righteous here.